Welcome. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at this Seyvum 20-volt cordless pole chainsaw. So this was provided to me by the distributor, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reviewing it before I post it. If you find this video helpful and you want to purchase one of these, I'll put a link to it in the description, and if you use that link it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost anything extra. So this is an 8-inch chainsaw. According to the Amazon description, it can be adjusted from lengths from 2.7 to 10.2 feet, extended up to 15 foot with the pole in the person's hand. So let's get this open. Okay, so here we have the saw, the battery, and probably the charger. Let's take a look at the manual. So I'm not going to go over everything in here. You'll want to read it on your own. So it has a bunch of notes at the beginning. Here are all the different parts. Here we have the specs. Chain speed is 4.5 meters per second. This talks about assembling the saw. This talks about tensioning the chain. So it has toolless chain tensioning. This talks about filling the chain oil. This has an auto oiler system. Has a carry strap, auxiliary handle, has a battery pack, talks about turning it on or off. This talks about cutting techniques. So when you're cutting off larger branches, you want to undercut and then cut from the top. That will keep it from tearing. This talks about service. So this little box, I'm guessing, is the charger. Yep. That outputs 21 volts at 1 amp. Here we have the battery. Capacity on this is 2 amp hours or 20 watt hours. So to charge this, we'll plug in here and we'll plug that into power. This does have a power meter on it, and it has 3 bars currently, so I'll get that charging, and it's currently charging at around 26 watts. So let's get the chainsaw out. This looks like an extension one. Here we have the handle with the battery holder. So the battery is going to go down low, so you have less weight up high. We have a shoulder strap. And here's the chainsaw. So this feels very hefty here. We have a guard on the chain. This is where the oil goes here. Has an oil minimum mark. This would be for the tension of the chain and replacing the chain. And then this can also angle, so we can press down this and angle it like so. So that can help you get into tighter areas. Let's assemble this thing. Let's take a look at the extension one before we do that. To adjust this, we'll pull up here. And this is kind of spring loaded, likely because there's a coiled wire in there. So we can tighten that down. Okay. So let's see. So we'll put the chainsaw head on. This is going to line up. Looks like it's keyed, so this will only go in one way. So this little thing will line up with this notch here. Put that in, and we'll tighten it down. And we'll do the same for the handle. Okay, so we have that secured. Let me put the battery in and see if everything's connected right. Okay, that worked. So to turn this on, you press in here and pull up on this. Like so. It's a little tricky to show because this is quite large. So this is as much as I'm going to show on the bench. Next we'll test this out. Okay, so I'm prepping this to do some cutting. Let's take the guard off. Now if I want to adjust the chain tension, I can loosen this here. And we can check the tension. And we can turn this knob to tighten it. You can see this tightens it up here. So I'll get it tightened. Oh, I got it out of the track. There we go. And then I'll tighten this back down. We also need to put bar lube in here. So I'll do that on the other side. So I have some bar lube. I'll pour that in. And it's hard to see on camera, but there's a little window here. If I tilt it to the side, I can see that it's up above the minimum level. So I'm going to do some cutting in a tree, but I don't have anything this thick in a tree, so I have this probably about, I don't know, 6-inch log, and I'll demonstrate cutting this. Now this is not super ideal for cutting something on the ground close to you, but it should show us the capability of the chainsaw. So I do want the side down with the little notches here, so that will pull the work into the blade. Okay, so I didn't get all the way through here, but you can see it was cutting it just fine. I just don't have a good way to hold this, so it was jumping around a lot. If I was cutting this same thing in a tree, it would be a lot easier. Okay, so I'm at a tree here. There's a dead branch right about here, and it's maybe 9 foot in the air, so I'll get in there and cut it out. Okay, so I have another branch here. It's just slightly higher than the last one. So that was the Seyvum cordless pole chainsaw. I really like how easy this was to use. It's super easy to adjust the tension. You just put some bar lube in it and start cutting. So I showed a few cuts on camera, but after that I made some more cuts in the tree and it didn't even put a dent into the battery. I like that this is cordless. I've used another one that had a cord on it and it's hard to maneuver with the cord. It's also very lightweight. Now I did find that the head is a little bit wider. So I had a branch I was trying to cut and I had a narrow gap I needed to get into, and I wasn't able to get into it from one side, but if I went to the other side I was able to get in. But it's no wider than a regular chainsaw. It's probably a lot narrower than a regular like gas chainsaw. So you could use this from the ground and reach up. You could potentially also use this from something like a bucket truck or some other platform. So that's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate if you could do that. Thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.